Paul's Picks with Paul Carrier. I'm David Schellenberg. Hello, Paul.
Hello, David.
Where are we today, Paul? It's a different place.
We're at the beautiful Shaw Center down here in downtown Ottawa with a very special guest.
Yes, joining with us is James Leonardo. Hello, James.
Hi, how are
James.
you?
James, there's a whole bunch of bottles here that you are responsible for. So that's what we're going to say. So what did you bring us to taste today?
So 3 products from the Maison M. Chapoutier, originally from France, from the Rhône Valley. So
Right.
we'll have three bottles, as you said, the Belleruche white, Belleruche red, and the Bila-Haut that's coming from a little bit southern part of France, from the Languedoc-Roussillon.
Okay.
It's Côtes-du-Rhône, Côtes-de-Roussillon Village.
Now, we have all sorts of questions about the winery itself, but we want to drink first. So tell us a little bit about this first white, and then we'll go from there. Yeah.
So Belleruche white, as I mentioned, it's a Côtes-du-Rhône white.
Yep.
So it's a blend. We're gonna have 3 main grapes here: the Grenache white,
Yep.
Roussanne, and Viognier.
Yep.
So approximately 30% of each, and you have a little bit of Clairette as well.
Right.
So it's our first wine today, typical white from Côtes-du-Rhône, aging 5 months on lees.
Yeah.
And so we can taste.
Yeah. Paul, what do you get on the nose, and what do you get when you taste it?
The thing I love about when you're trying and tasting wines that are blended when they use grapes is that you're getting multiple aromas and multiple flavors on the palate.
Right.
So it's like an adventure almost, because every time you go back into the glass and you nose it and then you put it on the palate, you're tasting different things all the time. Like when I smell this at first,
Yeah.
for me,
I think I need to top mine up a little bit.
I get a lot of
Yeah. Okay.
I get a lot of sort of apple and pear come through,
Yeah.
and at the same time, I smell the minerality. There's a definite minerality to this wine.
Right.
So on the palate, I would say light to medium body.
Yeah,
It's almost silky. So it's
Yeah.
almost got a very smooth, sort of roundish palate to it. Yet on the finish, the acidity comes back and cleanses your palate, getting it ready for the next sip.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I know what you mean about the pear. Like, I sort of get a little bit of hint of convention center when I smell it, but that's kind of where we are. But the pear,
It's our terroir today.
but still, the pear is able to push through the convention center smell. And silky is a great word to describe the experience of drinking it.
I think a lot of times too, people are so used to seeing wines labeled like Chardonnay
Yeah.
or Sauvignon Blanc that they sometimes shy away from trying these styles of blended wines, and really they're doing themselves a disservice, because these type of wines will find elements of the wines that you traditionally go to, you will find in these styles of blended white wines.
Right.
Yeah.
Is James, what part of the world is this from?
It's from Côtes-du-Rhône. So basically what we wanted to do, and the range of product here, the Belleruche, it's from our tradition range. It's our, let's say, entry, maybe not entry level, but entry to the world wine product. So we want to offer a clear image of the appellation we work on. So on that tradition range, we're gonna see well-known Rhône appellations such as Côtes-du-Rhône, but also Rasteau and Vaqueras and all those type of appellation from the Rhône. And we want to give that easy to drink and affordable to everyone, everyday wine, let's say.
Yeah.
So indeed, you're gonna have. It's a nice blend. You're gonna see the roundness coming from Viognier.
Yeah.
Viognier, well known for Condrieu, for example, from the appellation Condrieu, and then the Grenache is gonna give you a little bit of that appleness, if that's a word.
Yep, absolutely.
So you have. So
We're making it.
appleness.
You know what?
Let's say that's a word.
Appleness is a good flavor.
Patent it.
And so you have those, and the grapes are coming from different terroirs as well. So you have claystone. So that's gonna bring you a little bit of that minerality as well. So yeah, it's I think the goal here is really to give everyone that is not necessarily aware of all those appellations of those region of in the wine world a great way to start and to discover that great region of Rhône that is actually one of the oldest producing wine and oldest AOC as well in France.
And oldest as in, like, how old?
The first AOC is in 1930, so it was one of the first wine region really putting in AOC distinction. And then the terroir has been producing wine for ever. Châteauneuf-du-Pape, for example, is from the Rhône Valley as well, and we know the name is coming from the old popes that were in that region. So it's a really historical region for France.
Right. And when you talk about blends, I mean, it's we get so hung up, I think, now on I have to have a Cab Sauv or I have to have a Shiraz or something else, but French wines are blends.
Yeah, we here at Maison Chapoutier, we do have kind of the two sides. What we want always, and might be repeating it, but it's taking the best out of the terroir. So sometimes it's gonna come with a single varietal wine, sometimes not. Sometimes it's gonna be a blend. So here we have 3 blends, right. And they always. We try to get the best out of the soil, the climate, the vintage. So from one vintage to the other, it's might be a little bit more Grenache than a Viognier, for example, just to make sure we balance and everything, and that we give that same easiness to drink to the final consumer. So that
as in not expensive.
Yeah, and as in approachable that you can. I think we should be okay saying that it's for example, Belleruche white here. It's a wine that I'm gonna feel confident to bring at a table with someone that is not necessarily drinking wine regularly.
Yeah.
So it's something that it's and you can pair it also with different type of foods.
Right.
So I think it's that's the easy part adjective. That's why I use it. But also it's at $18 now at the maybe 19. 19 at the LCBO. Right. So it's still really approachable in terms of price for the quality of the product.
Right. And when you talk about food, what kind of food would you pair this with?
I think sushi. Yeah. Sushi sushi could be really great.
Definitely.
Sushi would be a nice pairing. Yep. And then you could
like a creamy pasta.
Creamy pasta could be great. So everything. So again, it's approachable. So it's something that two dish. Sushi, cream pasta, and all the kind of fish as well could be great to go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when I was tasting it, the first thing I thought was pan-seared scallops with like a beurre blanc sauce on top of it would be fantastic. This wine has enough complexity, enough body, and enough acidity as well that if you were doing just a nice simple cheese fondue, we have fantastic wine to do a cheese fondue with.
A little bit of that in the fondue.
Yeah. Holiday seasons are coming up.
Right.
This is, instead of going to look for a fondant style wine, this would be a fantastic substitute at a great price.
All right, and what's the second wine we've got sitting here?
So the second one is from the same range, so with our tradition range, still with the same aspect. So the Rhône Valley, it's 75% of the production is in reds.
That doesn't smell like convention center at all.
Wow.
All right, sorry, keep going.
Yeah. Sorry, I was.
Wow.
So it's the Belleruche red. So a blend again. So with Grenache, that time black Grenache, 35% Syrah. Yeah. So that's the two main grapes. Then you're gonna have a little bit of Marcellan as well. So you're gonna have both some.
Wow.
Yeah, a little bit or a lot of black fruit.
Right.
So you could say black currant, and then you're gonna have a little bit of at the end maybe a little bit more spicy or pepper, white pepper.
Yeah.
Wow.
Is that what you're getting, Paul?
You know what? I'm astonished when I was reading the text sheets on this particular wine to find out that there was no oak or new oak used in this. We were discussing this a little bit beforehand. I think the idea was to let the grapes, then the terroir, really shine in the glass. And when I nose this, if I was nosing it blind, I almost would. Maybe is there some wood to it, but there's not, because it comes off so warm on the nose. And the fruits, like you were mentioning, cassis, blackberry, Bing cherry comes out a lot. There's some jamminess in there. Underlying though, white and black pepper, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's even I'm going to go as far as to say there's a slight bit of gaminess almost to this wine that comes through these herbes de Provence, the provincial herbs. Fantastic wine, just amazing. And again, with that blend, you're going into the wine at multiple times and you're smelling different things.
Yep.
Because I went back into it again. I did it about 3 or 4 times, and then all of a sudden I was getting anise. I was smelling black licorice.
Black licorice. I've noticed that too. The taste has changed from the first sip, the second sip, to the third sip.
Yeah.
I think the pepper is disappearing.
I mean, this wine to me is so smooth, well-rounded. The tannins are there, but they're not aggressive. They're actually quite pleasing and smooth on the palate. And at the same time, I'm thinking, yes, I would drink this wine alone.
Right.
But it's also screaming for food.
Big
time.
I think this wine needs food.
Yeah.
However, I tend to think that with a lot of old world wines. Like I find new world wines are great to just sit around and have another. But old world wines, for me at least, always need food.
And I think in the French tradition and Chapoutier main office, the HQ is based in Tain-l'Hermitage, so in the heart of Rhône, which is actually 1 hour from Lyon, one of the world gastronomic capital. So everything is made to be shared, to be, as I said, it's kind of wine to eat, and we eat to drink wine, kind of. So we want
in the
to.
main office. This is what
we have to taste the wine.
Oh,
right?
okay.
But yeah, so the thinking behind is really one of the values is respect for everything we do on the soil, with the soil and the nature, but it's also conviviality and generosity. So we want to have those approachable wine, and as Maison Chapoutier, we are really known for a single vineyard called Sélection Parcellaire, which are incredible wines, a little bit more expensive, but we want to be also able to share the love that we have from our terroir to everyone, and have that approachability, and that and be able to make under $20 wine that are drinkable and everything. So yeah, the conviviality is also has been part of the values of the company for a long time. I mean, it's a really historical family, started in the wine in 1808. And Michel Chapoutier. 1808, so more than 200 years ago. And
still in the same fields?
The still from Tain-l'Hermitage. It started in Tain-l'Hermitage, and now we Michel Chapoutier, who took over his parent in 1989, was kind of disruptive in his approach. So we started with biodynamics, one of the pioneer in the Rhône and in France, and also had that aspect of I want to make terroir wines. So that's why on wines like that, we don't want to use too much wood, because we think the terroir has so much to give that we don't need to add another element.
Ground, the
exactly,
dirt,
the dirt. And for example, on wines such as Belleruche, the red wine, it comes from a diversity of terroirs, so of soil, of climates. So you have coming from hills, coming from other part of of the Rhône and from pebble stone that you could see stone well known in the Châteauneuf-du-Pape, but other type of stone as well. So you have that diversity. You have so much element coming from the terroir and from the climate, from the vintage, from everything, that adding another element, we at that point we think it's already giving out what Côtes-du-Rhône should be. So a lot of words, maybe. I'm not sure if it makes sense.
No, for sure.
Well, I think this runs a whole other set of questions.
No, I think that, for especially in the early 2000s, my own personal opinion, we were overrun by New World wines that had so much emphasis on over oaking and high alcohol that you lost a lot of the characteristic of the grape.
Sure.
And I think people's palates now, because like everything in the wine world, things go 360. People change, their palates change, and I think that this style of wine is a style of wine that someone who possibly was drinking those 15.7% Shirazes and Cabernet Sauvignons that spent, 12 months in brand new American oak barrels, this is something your palate's going to appreciate a lot more.
Sure.
And I go back again to, as far as a food pairing. Now, something with this is fantastic for almost any type of barbecued meats. I would even venture to say that I would actually have this with barbecue chicken. I think the wine.
Chicken?
Yeah, I think the wine is supple enough.
So like a sweeter barbecue sauce, or just
like a mesquite style sauce or something like that,
right?
And then move it from there. And I'd go into, if you want to get fancier, you could go to something like a venison loin roast that had sort of a chocolate and red wine reduction sauce on it.
Everybody's got venison in the freezer.
Well, we all do. I mean, there's a lot of hunters out in this.
Yeah, I know. No, I literally.
But even bison
somebody gave you
burgers,
venison a while ago, and you're trying to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, this would be a fantastic. And again, talking about Christmas holiday season and everything coming up, meat pie.
Oh, tortilla.
Tortillas, and this wine, I think the spices that in the tortilla would absolutely activate all that blueberry fruit that's in that wine and just accelerate all those fruity components that this wine possesses. Yeah.
Mm.
And James, you had earlier mentioned pizza with this wine too.
Yeah, I would go with pizza really easily. I mean, I think it could be it should be a nice pairing as well. So yeah, it could be a really great idea to just. I really feel like it's even with 14% alcohol, I don't think you tasted that much.
No,
that has that.
That's just a palate cleanser.
No.
So it's it's really well balanced, I think, and it could fit well with your favorite pizza.
Yeah, that'd be even something as simple as a pizza marguerite. Just sauce and cheese, and this just something simple.
Well, there's your herbs de Provence.
Just something simple, and it would. And again, I think this wine is just conducive that whatever you're going to pair with it, it's going to bring something else and offer you something else in your pairing. So, thumbs up. It's fantastic.
Before we get to the third one, so you had mentioned biodynamics, and you were talking about the winery itself. I will admit, I'll be the dumb one. I don't know what that means. So what is biodynamics?
So biodynamics, it's really, it's a large concept. It's really, I'm going to start with the motto of the company of Chapoutier is Fac and Spera. So you're going to be able to see Fac and Spera on all our labels. Fac and Spera, it's Latin for Fait and Espère. And realize that fair and despair is not in English, so
that's not helping me. You're not
so it's do and hope.
Okay.
So it's really the biodynamic could be seen a little bit like that. We're not here to change the vineyard. We're here to observe it and lead it and accompany the vineyard and the growth of the vines to where we want it to be, but we don't want to add stuff in the vineyard. In organic, you do have the ability to add some kind of elements to the vineyard to help it grow, to avoid some kind of disruptive bacteria and things like that.
Yeah.
In biodynamic, you have to you don't really do a lot of intervention to the vineyard. You let it grow. So when you're gonna see, for example, you go in the Rhône Valley or a different region, and you're gonna see two vineyards, one in biodynamic, one in conventional agriculture. You're gonna see the biodynamic one, and you're gonna think, oh, nobody is taking care of it. And no, it's indeed, it's not for the human to take care of it. It's going to take care of it by itself. So you're going to have a lot more movement between the grapes. You're going to see a lot of bees, a lot of coccinelle. Ladybugs. So we're gonna
sheep.
All the elements gonna work together to help the vine grow, and you're gonna see a lot bigger leaves on the vines, and it's actually just it looks less.
They're healthier.
Healthier.
Yeah.
But when you walk in it, it's you see the movement and everything. So it's a different approach, and it's also then you have all that more esoteric approach that the moon. And so you're gonna pick the grapes on specific days that are better for picking the
based on the
grapes.
moon.
Based on the moon and on the
Cycles,
sun, on the season, on the cycles.
Oh, yeah.
So it's.
But isn't this in many ways the way wine was always made? I mean, you talk about going back to 1808.
Exactly.
The thought of adding some herbicides and pesticides is a relatively new concept when you talk about a company that's hundreds of years old.
So it's really interesting you say that, because biodynamic is something that we hear a lot more in the past few years, and it's getting not a trend, but I think people realize it's better, and we are getting more environmentally aware and conscious. And but actually, in the old times we didn't have the ability to put a plane and put something on the plane that would erase everything.
That was not a thing.
So it was something that we used to do as the same way we used to not go 5,000 kilometers away to get tomatoes, for example. If we didn't have, so it's a little bit going back to that approach and to the true value of the soil, and that the soil is going to give you its best if you give the soil the best. You don't need to over push the soil. And Michel Chapoutier, he started working biodynamic in 1989. It was the only one it was really one of the pioneer, and it was kind of seen too disruptive, and why would you do that and everything. So and now I think 95% of the Hermitage Hill, one of the well-known terroir appellation, is now in biodynamics. And so since 1990, now it's been 30 years, and now we have the record of 100 points by Robert Parker Wines. So it shows that it's something that is working, and so it's a different approach, but it's really interesting.
And I wonder, talking about traditional farming, how much? Well, winemakers are farmers.
Yep.
How much that would have just been going and looking back through some old notes, some old books to see the way that it was done for literally centuries and only recently changed.
So it's really there's that old kind of scientific approach. So it's for that biodynamic, they're really looking at how it was done before, and as you said, it's going through years and thousands of years we've been making wine. So it's going back a little bit to that, and bringing a little bit of what we have also, and what we're able to do better as well. And everything for Maison Chapoutier, what we do, and Michel Chapoutier has kind of his place where he does all this laboratory, let's say. It's called mixing the La Compilate estate. So it's 16 acres in the Rhône Valley near Tandem. So he experiments, and you have so he has his own garden with different plants and everything. So he's able to see how the things grow. So there's a part of that estate that is made for production of wine.
Right.
So we make wines from that estate. But another part that is really to grow some Syrah, some Chasselas, some different type of grapes, and that we're able then to use those grapes in different terroirs and see. So it's kind of the approach.
Yeah. Excellent. We should explain we're at the Shaw Convention Center in downtown Ottawa. Sirens and things going by is a new one for us.
Yeah.
When we recorded these at my place at home, there's a church next door that every now and then church bells will go off. We haven't had sirens yet. Okay, we got one more wine to go. What's our third one?
So the third one is from a little bit southern than the Rhône Valley. It's from Languedoc, and specifically from Côtes-du-Rhône. So in 2000, as I said, Michel had that terroir approach. So we wanted to try different terroirs, and I think at some point he did a lot in different terroirs in the Rhône Valley, and he started going a little bit southern, and he found that terroir and that specific village called La Tour de France in Roussillon, and he acquired an estate there, and it's a different climate, different soils, and it's a very interesting region as well. So we wanted to recreate, and there's all different story also with Qatar knights. That were there historically and everything. So here it's again a blend of Syrah and Grenache, and you have a little bit of Carignan as well. So coming from it's called the Algae Hills. So it's hills that are in the Roussillon, La Tour de France.
And considering it's mainly the same grapes like Syrah and Grenache, these are very different wines.
Exactly. So that's what we have an extended portfolio. We usually work on Grenache and Syrah. We have an estate also in Australia that most of the grapes we use are also Grenache and Syrah. So I think we like to have that diversity of terroir with the same grapes. And you see that difference. So when you're going to see the Belleruche and the Bila-Haut, you see it's two completely different wine coming from the terroir.
Yeah.
Coming from
Don't interrupt you, James, but Paul's just sort of I think Paul took the bottle and went home.
Yeah, just about. Oh my goodness. Wow. Once again, multi-layered wine. I think this particular wine might be just a tad bit fuller than the Belleruche. A little bit more tannic, but still approachable. I found the characteristics here were a little bit more primal, leathery. Black leather is definitely something that came up, and I'll tell you when I tasted it. For me, the first sip, full on pepper and spices, which was followed up by some nice blueberry jammy fruit. Which was very, very nice. And I even picked up a little bit of almost like a cedary note to it. There was something there. This is, for me, there's two things that came to mind as soon as I tried it. Number one was rack of lamb. This rack of lamb would be a perfect pairing with rack of lamb and maybe scalloped potatoes, something fairly simple-ish to do. The other thing I was thinking about was just ribs, but just done with a salt and pepper rub. That's it.
See, that's what
something simple, and with some accompaniment, some vegetables or seasonal vegetables or something. But this wine is again so expressive, and it's a wine. I'm very serious. It's a wine that I could sit on the patio and drink on its own as well. Again.
What about like a charcuterie with
I was thinking charcuterie cheeses, smoked oca, or Gouda, smoked Gouda, an aged cheddar would be fantastic with this. I'm thinking a Spanish Manchego.
Okay.
The nice acidity, the nice rind to the cheese, I think would pair perfectly. It has a little bit of creaminess, so it might soften off a little bit of the tannin edge to it. Overall, I mean, for the price that you're getting for this one, and I'm guessing now, and correct me if I'm wrong, but these two reds that we tried we didn't really talk about it, but I'm guessing you could probably cellar these for a while too. Like put in your cellar.
Easily 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Usually you want to drink them before because they're really. I mean,
Make it to the cellar.
Yeah. Because you need a wine for your pizza or for your charcuterie, and those are great. But you could easily 2 to 3 years, and you won't have negative effect on the quality of the product. It's kind of it's really stable and well balanced, so you won't be affected. Yeah.
A wine like this at this price point, I would say to someone, well, why don't you buy yourself 3 or 6 bottles to put in the cellar that you start drinking now when you get home.
Yeah.
And then maybe, a couple of months down the road, maybe forget about it for a year or two and go back and see what happens. Yeah. These wines, I think, are just going to evolve. They'll just smooth out even a little bit more, which will make them even more food friendly.
Right.
But I think because of the fact that they're not over oaking or using that oak component, the wines will evolve much more majestically at a slower pace, so that you don't have to worry about losing too much from them. So, and fantastic.
These wines are in Ontario all under $20 to begin with. So when you talk about cellaring one, I mean, that becomes the classic thing. Hey, it's on sale. It's a couple of dollars off. Now's the time to buy 6 or 12 and not worry about them sitting in the cellar.
The holidays coming up. If you had 6 bottles of this kicking around, you had some people coming over, this could be your table wine for dinner. And people could interplay between cheeses and main course, and you can have a lot of fun with these wines, or even after dinner, just sitting down with a glass, and maybe doing a little bit of a cheese platter or something like that. Sit back, relax, and do your thing.
Well, and I can also say, as somebody who does not have a wine cellar, these wines, I think, are a little more stable than sometimes we give them credit for, where people talk about, cellaring a wine as if you've got some sort of a fancy thing down in the basement. But the reality is, I mean, most of us will drink this within a year or two anyways. Yeah. It's pretty stable just in the shell.
I mean, if you have a basement, fantastic. That's the ideal. And keep it in an area there's low vibration or no vibration, and there's no direct sunlight on them, and they should be fine. One of the biggest mistakes, and I'll fight this to the tooth and nail, are people that put their wines underneath the staircase. I don't agree with it.
Under the staircase?
Oh, yeah. The people running up and down stairs, and the bottles are banging together, and a lot of people, designers, will make, and I don't get it. And this is so foreign concept to me. It's like, no, do like Dave, put it next to your washing machine. It'd be easier to me. They're better
off.
It's
on the floor next to a washing machine. Yes, that's where one of the wine boxes is.
We're kidding, of course.
No.
Well, not about Dave's thing, but don't do that.
Well, but it's on it's because it's a dark spot, and a safe spot, and it's not like on the washing machine. It's just close to the washing machine. But I know what you mean about it doesn't vibrate there, and it's we know sunlight's a bad thing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be in a chilled basement.
I mean, ideally, it'd be great to have climate control cabinets, but the reality is most people don't even have the room or are not willing to go into that expense, and that's understandable.
Right.
But again, keep your wines stored. If you can get them in the wooden boxes that they come in, or find wooden boxes, ideally, put them in there, close them up, and just put them in a nice dark spot where, very important too.
Stable.
Yeah, stable and no major fluctuations in temperatures. That's where your wine might spoil, might vinegar, might turn sour on you.
Right.
Yeah.
James, we're trying these 3 wines, but I mean, obviously there's more that you produce than just these 3.
Yeah. So we have quite a few wines.
Right.
We actually have now 10 estates around the world. So 10. So we have product coming from the Rhône Valley. That's really our heart and where the company was born. And then they started going down on Bila-Haut and the Languedoc-Roussillon. So that's another estate. We then have estate in Alsace and Germany. So we do basically mostly Riesling and Gewürztraminer products and a little bit of Pinot Noir. Then we have also estate in Ribeira del Duero in Spain and in Portugal as well in the Douro Valley. And then we have an estate called Tournon. Tournon is actually the name of the town across the river from Tain-l'Hermitage. So he took that name and put it in the estate in Australia. So we have an estate in Australia working again on a specific terroir, but on the same Syrah and Grenache grapes. And so we have quite a few products. We have different products also coming in. The three products we tasted are continuous at the LCBO, so you can find them year round.
And then I think around the world too, right?
Yeah, pretty much. That's really, especially the Belleruche product. It's kind of our flagship. Usually you could see them. We're pretty much all around the world. And this label is usually on premise. So in restaurants, you could find those products because I think they realize it's a clear representation of what a Côtes-du-Rhône should be. So it's a little bit like there's not a Big Mac, let's say, but a Big Mac in Canada and in Japan is gonna taste the same thing. Here it's a Côtes-du-Rhône, so you know what to expect. We are not. I think as a company, they're not really working to make a Chapoutier signature on the wine. It's really, we want to have a terroir signature. So we don't have blind tasting. You won't be able to recognize a Chapoutier wine. You will be able to recognize a terroir wine, a Côtes-du-Rhône or Rasteau. The only way to recognize really the Chapoutier signature on the blind tasting would be with the label, because we have the braille on the label.
The braille, yes. I was going to ask you
on all the labels since 1996. So it's only way you can cheat. It would be to see the braille. So it's been on the labels, and it's again the same thing about conviviality, and you want to be inclusive, and it's in honor also of one of the well-known family in Tain-l'Hermitage called La Sizerane. And one of the person from La Sizerane is one of the creator of one braille
labels,
the braille writings. Yes. He was one of the founders. So that's in that's for that as well. And so we have wines from all around. And we have a few wines also coming in the next few weeks at the LCBO in vintages with Petite Ruche. So it's from Côtes-du-Rhône with the same range of Belleruche. So Côtes-du-Rhône is one of the well-known appellation and really dynamic appellation that is getting a lot more demand recently, more than the production could follow, let's say. So we're lucky to have a little bit coming in
it's not a bad
Ontario.
thing. Eh?
It's a good thing, but we would like to provide a little bit more. But Petite Ruche. So Petite Ruche is the name is for a small honey
beehive?
Beehive. Yeah.
Small. Okay,
so small beehive. So because the terroir there was usually working before wines, it was producing
honey, like
honey,
a beehive place. Okay.
So that's why the name. So we have a few vintages release every year. With a product at different price point that you, and again, even if the price point is a little bit higher, we want to make sure it's a clear representation of the terroir, so it's hard to miss it.
So if people say wanted to get the higher end products of Chapoutier, they would go through things like classic catalogs or ordering
Yeah,
online,
classics and
that type of thing?
We did held an event last year in 2022.
Okay.
With the LCBO, and that was really with our top range product. You are able to find a little bit, a few bottles here and there in some LCBO stores of the top premium products. So the Sélection Parcellaire, it's really
Okay.
coming from the Hermitage Hill, from a specific parcel, and it's an unbelievable wine.
Because
that,
there's so limited quantity.
they're so limited, and
Yeah.
it's really allocated with a few bottles per country or per market. So it's but it's a product that are really incredible. They usually are 95 to 100 points on the different scores that we get. So it's incredible wines. I know you. At the LCBO, there's a few stores having the last bottles, and then we have products that are still under $100 that really are clear representation again of some specific terroir, Châteauneuf-du-Pape and Hermitage and different other Condrieu and
It's safe to say, though, for people that are going to go to that level, they're not really wines to drink right now. They're more to cellar.
yeah, it's
Okay, you're going to spend more money on it. Yes, then you've got the
Okay,
cellar.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The pizza might not be the the food pairing, but
bring
then,
the wine to a restaurant with you
yeah.
and have them pour and feed you. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah. Excellent. Anything else to add?
I'm very happy just sipping on this wine right now, actually. I don't have any more questions.
Well, excellent. Well, James, thank you for taking the time to bring these lovely wines and explaining this to all of us. And now we have a whole set of new ambitions, things that we got to go out and try.
Yes.
Paul Carrier, thank you as well. I'm David Schellenberg. This has been Paul's Picks.
Thanks, guys.